Hi guys, this is Chet here from the Avion Technology, not from the Avion Technology, from Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. We are a digital agency. One of the things we do is we do product incubation, right, which is essentially help young, ambitious, not necessarily young, but help these entrepreneurs develop SaaS products, develop online products, which sometimes end up becoming very successful. So it's called product incubation, right? And we help them go from idea to MVP, and then to market and scale and even exit. So one of the things that a lot of startups struggle with is having the right talent mix, right? Having the right folks initially to kind of come together and help scale it up. So today I'm going to talk about what is the right talent mix that you need in your startup. And for some reason, I've always seen always like the core group of people is usually initially like five people. I don't know why. I don't know what's the rule of five, but there's always like five people that I've seen who usually end up coming together, and then they scale up the company. So the first is the visionary, and this guy is the leader of amongst those five people. He is the one who has the idea. He's the one who kind of sees a market opportunity, who has a solution. The next is oh, and by the way, this visionary, I have always seen he or she is usually a charmer, and they are very good at getting investors to sign checks, right? Because one of the things that you need besides this is investors. So the visionary is usually, he's a charmer, and he's very good at getting investors to sign checks. The second person you need is a technical co-founder. Especially on a SaaS product, there's going to be a lot of development, right? So to create your MVP, usually you need someone with a technical background. So besides the visionary, the second person that we've usually seen is a technical co-founder. The third person is a sales guy, right? Because you need someone in sales who's going to go out and sell. This salesperson is usually someone who's been in SaaS sales before, who's been in software sales before, and what. So this guy, right? He's very good at selling. Actually, the visionary is very good at selling. So he kind of sells this guy and everyone else on this idea that their startup is going to be successful, right? So he kind of shows them the promised land, and then he kind of takes them towards it. So the sales guy usually is, he has some kind of sales experience. He's worked in a SaaS company before. He knows how to sell, and he knows that with this startup, he has the opportunity to, in the next 10 years, get to a place where he probably would not have gotten on his own, right? So he sees this incredible opportunity where he can create some equity, create some wealth. At the same time, he can also make a lot of money through his compensation plan, his incentives, his commission. So that's how this person comes here. It's almost the same for the technical guy as well. The technical guy knows that he has this opportunity to be on the ground floor of a big opportunity. He would not have gotten this opportunity if he was somewhere else. So he's also very excited. The fourth person is, of course, a people person, an HR person, and what he or she does is, he kind of helps to recruit, the group of people after these five people, right? So if you see any company, it's usually like these concentric circles where you have like a group of people on the inside, and then you have like people around them, and then the people on the periphery. So this is like the innermost circle, right? So the HR is the one then who kind of helps to build that group around this core. And last, of course, is admin. In any business, there's always a lot of paperwork, a lot of compliances, finance, payroll, all these things. So there's usually an admin person who's like the chief of staff who does all the housekeeping. So there you go, guys. This is what I've usually seen. This is the talent mix that I've usually seen. I just quickly want to add one thing, which is that in all of this, they still end up doing a lot of cross-functional things. So if the one thing that you got to remember when you're in a startup is that startups are almost like every day is a battle. And honestly, I myself was a startup when I was 25, so I miss the startup days. The startup days are very there's a lot of romance associated with startup. Let me be honest. It's almost like being in love. It's every day is a battle. Every day is a battle, right? But there's also something sweet. Like I said, there's something very romantic about being in the startup. Uh, so one of the things that you have to know about being in a startup is that there's a lot of cross-functional things happening, right? Just because you're in HR, you might have to also pick up some of the tasks that the admin team is doing. Just because you're in sales, doesn't mean you're just going to be in sales. You might also have to kind of help on the project management side. So there's just a lot of cross-functional things happening. But the one thing I would recommend, and this is something that I definitely recommend anyone who's in their 20s, again, this is my personal opinion, but you should work at least a couple of years in a startup. What does happen, right, in your 20s is that time is a little bit on your side. So you can always experiment, right? And you can spend 2 3 years working in a place where you need not necessarily make tons of money, but you gain the experience, right? And startups are the best place to get so much experience. If you work in a bigger company, you're usually in a silo. You really don't have, you don't get to see the action a lot of times. But if you work in a startup, you get to see so much action. You get to, just it's just so much character building which happens in a startup. So, like I said, this is the talent mix which I've seen succeed most often in the startup. There's a visionary, then there's a technical co-founder or the CTO, then there's a sales guy, there's a people person like a HR person, then there's admin, there's a chief of staff. But like I said, everyone has to do all the roles. The first 5 years in a startup, especially the first three, are extremely critical. Most startups go bust in the first 3 years, then it comes the 5 year milestone. But if your startup makes it past the first 5 years, it'll usually end up becoming successful, and within 10 or 15 years you'll all have an exit, and you probably exit with like some part of gold, right? So yeah, that's my small lecture based on the talent mix that I've seen in most startups. Let me know what you like. If you like my content, press like. If you want to subscribe, please press subscribe. These are my coordinates. Shoot me an email if you want to. Like I said, this is just, I always say, please do not take anything that I say as legal or financial advice. This is just a conversation to kind of get the juices flowing in your head. So yeah, this is the success combination that's usually seen in most startups. Thank you so much, Avion Technology Chicago.